you have to succeed, right? This is a job. You're my daughter, but you got to fill the position. You got to do it well.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there's no hiding it. Like, it'll be very clear if I'm doing my job or not. Like, I do live off of a KPI sheet, and if it's not filled out, there will be things to show that. So.
And right, equally as important, coming to work.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, again, right, we didn't necessarily have those conversations, because I think, like, when you're raising your kids and knowing the vigorous curriculums that they went through, and, you know, not only academically, but on the sports field, they have that structure built into them already. But, right, I have other colleagues and hear stories, right? Kids don't even come to work, or they come to work when they want. I mean, that can't be an example for anybody else in the office. It sets a negative tone. So, again, I think it's a combination of several things.
Welcome to Enrich Your Empire with Richie Huffman, the ultimate podcast for entrepreneurship, impactful wealth building, and effective team leadership. It's time to enrich your business and create a lasting legacy. Let's get to work.
Hey guys, so welcome back. We are here at Celebree FranCon 2026 in sunny St. Petersburg, Florida. God, it's so beautiful down here. Hey guys, today I'm joined by Jason and Madison Skidmore, a father and daughter team that is operating their family business through the Celebree School platform. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
First of all, I have to say, we've been friends for a while, and it's so inspiring to see, and I can't wait to get into the conversation between this father and daughter relationship and bringing you into the business because, you know, of my daughter also. So I look at you two and just look at the path forward for me, and it's inspiring for me to see you two together. So thank you for that. So Jason, I mean, you've been an entrepreneur for probably since you, 17 years old? At least?
Yes, 18.
Probably
yes,
18. Came up in a very entrepreneurial family with your mom and your dad being entrepreneurs and owning their own business. So you've been doing this for a long time. So I want to talk, and you could also talk about your involvement and your relationship in a family business with you and your mom and your dad, your brother and your sister, correct?
The whole family.
The whole family. So, and now you're taking maybe some of those principles or philosophies and now bringing your daughter into that. So, so tell us a little bit about, maybe let's talk about your relationship with your mom and dad and how that took place.
Well, I think, you know, when I was 7 or 8 years of age, my parents started their own assisted living business. And, you know, my dad was from the military, so there was an expectation that everybody was going to work for the business and contribute from a very early age. And probably harder on us boys because he did work us 7 days a week. Like after school, we had responsibilities. Every Saturday and Sunday, we had responsibilities. That's
what it took.
Right. Even our friends knew when to come over and when not to because they knew if they came over, they
were going to work.
7, 8 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday or spent the night, they were working.
That's amazing.
Right. So
so how many actually spent the night?
I had
Very few.
I had a couple close ones that would spend a night every once in a while. So, but
there was no sleeping in the next day, right?
No, right.
Okay,
Never.
Got it.
So it was contributing to the family business. And I think, you know, hindsight today, you look back and say, yeah, was it hard? Yeah, probably so when you're younger. You know, we're always griping or bitching about something, but I think it truly built values in every one of us, one of their kids. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, and those values have taken root today, right?
Right, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So now you and your wife, Terry, have 3 children. So you're on that same path?
Right. Yeah. And I think the difference is, like, you know, they come from a different generation. And, you know, obviously in our generation, what I've learned is, I think, you know, is separating, understanding roles and, you know, relationships. Because as I was growing up, I was always frustrated with my dad or something because, something he wanted me to do or something he said. And at the end of the day, I think as I matured, what I was learning, there's a difference, right? There's a job to do, and then that's my job. I got to work and do whatever is on that task list or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then there's the relationship component, and they need to be separated. But when you're young, because that was never really sat down and explained to me, it took years to figure that out.
Yeah.
And constant frustration going back and forth,
Between you and your dad.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
right. And
Wow.
and I think in my world, when I'm even partnering with Madison, it's understanding, we have a job to do, You're my daughter, love you to death, but this is your role, your responsibility, and we need to separate the two because we all contribute to the same team and we have to drive success.
But a lot of people, a lot of parents, this, a lot of parents don't think that way.
Right.
Like, a lot of parents are like, they're on their own.
Yeah.
When they turn 18, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but that just bothers me,
Right.
right? Like, you're their parent.
Right.
You are, I hope I never stop becoming my children's coach, mentor,
Right.
cheerleader.
Yeah.
So I don't even understand that. But your dad and mom gave that gift to you of, we are a family. We are stronger together
Yeah.
than
Right.
separate.
And I think in my dad's own way of mentoring us, even though we would be frustrated with him, he'd always kind of giggle about it and just say, remember, dads will always love you.
Which made it all better.
Right, exactly.
Wow. So
All the time.
So let's drill on that. So now that you are a Celebree franchisee, have been an entrepreneur for a while. So what's it look like between? Well, let me ask you, Madison.
Okay.
Right. Let me get you in here. So what is this looking like for you? Did you always know, or did your dad give you that same philosophy that we are the Skidmore family and we're stronger together than we are separate?
Yes, but in the same sense, it was never pushed down my throat in terms of I need to do it. Like, he's always made it very clear, go to college, learn, things about life, go spread my wings, become my own independent self. And if that was something I wanted to do, great. If not, great too. He was supportive either way, and I always knew that.
So you went on that journey. You went off to school, graduated
Yes.
from college, and so what happened how did you decide that you wanted to join your dad?
Well, what he needed help with is what I went to school for, marketing and advertising.
Good job,
and
Dad.
Yeah. And just, talking to people like Warren, when I did come back for the summer, I realized he needed help. And to me, why would I not help the person that gave me everything in this world that I ever could have dreamed of? Has provided me every opportunity that I ever could have imagined, and has supported me and given me an unbelievable life. So not only did I know I wanted to work with him, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I give back and help him?
So what's that like?
And I think the timing worked out for us both, because I've always wanted Madison and Jason to go work for another employer, gain knowledge, and as Madison said, to expand their own wings and just have an opportunity at some point to bring that knowledge back to the family business if they wanted to work for it. But I think in transition with a marketing person, Madison, our marketing person, turned over. Madison graduated from school, and just she had other internships, and just hearing her success stories and everything, it just made sense. I just knew in my heart that she was going to kill it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's very smart, knows her business, and I honestly, and I think the other part of the decision was, and speaking to Terry, my wife, was that Lauren, your niece, was willing to mentor her, because what I didn't want to do is bring her into the organization and not have someone that can mentor her, which I could not contribute success to that, right? As I always say, I can barely turn on a computer, let alone do marketing.
Right.
And that was a big part of my decision to saying, yup, let's do this, because knowing Lauren could mentor her and agreed to mentor her, would help her grow, and learn. I mean, we're always learning, all of us, constantly. But if you don't have somebody there that's pushing you or mentoring you, how do you grow?
As we all do.
Right.
I think that's one of the biggest traits or gifts that you should have as an entrepreneur, is having advisors and people around you that have been there, done that, and can mentor you.
Right.
I know we all have had those in our
Yeah.
in our lives, starting with our parents, who's been the biggest
Right.
gift of all of ours.
Right. Yeah.
So what's it like working for your dad?
I love it.
I mean,
I genuinely learn something new every day. Every day.
tell me about that.
I mean, whether it's financially, operations, like even marketing through Lauren and learning how to explain that to him, I literally learn something new every day. And it's just exciting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is, like I told Madison, her main focus is obviously marketing, but my goal is to mentor her in other areas of the business, just to kind of give her a flavor of what it's like. So, all right, I'll go to her and approach her and just brief her of like complex scenarios, like how do we approach these right scenarios? How do we handle them? As we're looking forward, right? Again, to grow the business. Complex, personnel issues. Again, so she understands how do we operate as a business and how do we manage a business, right, as leaders. When you are 23 years of age, as we've had this conversation, her biggest challenge was going to be coming in the door and partnering with other directors that are 20 plus years with her, older than her. And then how does she mentor those conversations? How does she support them and give them good guidance without them taking offense to it?
Right.
So, right, it was just helping, kind of navigate those conversations and, coach her on how to approach it.
Yeah. What's that like, coaching and being a mentor for your daughter?
It's an unbelievable feeling.
Yeah. Dreams, right? This is what is as fathers.
For sure.
As fathers, this is what we all hope and pray for. That
Right.
we have the opportunity,
Right.
not only to be a good dad, but also be a great mentor, a great coach in your lives.
And kind of to her demise, right? She has my DNA, where she's got a great work ethic. Like she wants to drive success all the time, and doesn't want to leave the office until she knows that, right, her task for the day or whatever was her goals for the day are executed on.
Yeah, I mean,
So So again, that's great to see, but also as a father, as I've told her several times, you want that work-life balance too.
Yeah.
Because I grew up doing that, right, working 12, 14 hours a day. I don't want to see her get caught in that rut. I want her to work hard, drive success, but not get caught in that rut of working relentlessly all the time.
Yeah.
It's right. You need that life balance.
Good luck with that one.
And I'm learning that because I do know I have a problem with bringing it home a lot of the time.
But
So.
sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what it
To a
takes.
degree.
And I think we're still learning, as old as we are, I think we're still learning how to unwind some of that. I mean, it's almost a love-hate relationship. It's like the more you do it, the better you become at it.
Right.
And so, I've always kind of been afraid to turn it off.
Right.
Right? Because I know that somebody else is working as I'm speaking and as I'm relaxing. So
Right. Exactly.
how's this relationship? So you've been with your dad for how long now?
Almost a year. August will be a year.
How's the relationship change, if at all?
Certainly Madison will have her own opinion, but I don't think the relationship has changed. I think, to what Madison's point, there's definitely more collaboration in the evening because, like, if she can't get a hold of me during the day, she has her bucket list of questions in the evening.
At the dinner
right,
table?
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. She's drawing me on that because, like, again, she wants answers so she can respond and get her
Love
stuff
that.
done.
Yeah.
But I think as a father, I've always tried to build great relationships with my children and making sure that I fostered communication and openness.
Yeah.
Which I truly feel that's led to the success of us being able to work together and really collaborate.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge component on, like I tell her, I want her to have her independence and autonomy to make her own decisions. And not all decisions that are made are going to be the right ones probably, but I'm just there to support them. Like, I don't want to be that father micromanages her all day long and needs to know exactly what she's doing all day long. We have our weekly Monday meeting on marketing, the stuff that I have concern about with the schools. She has her weekly meeting with Lauren, and we drive success.
I love that.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think we've ever had a bad relationship. Like, I've always felt close to him, but to know me is to know the relationship I have with my mom,
Yeah.
like that's so special to me, and me and her are so close.
Yeah.
And just even going to college, I think it is hard in some ways because me and mom would talk every day, and me and you wouldn't talk. We talk weekly, but not every day. And so it's been cool to come home and get closer again. Because when
Yes.
you're in middle school and high school before you start driving, like
Yes.
my daily time with him was in the mornings going
Yeah.
to school. So
Yeah.
it's been cool to build
Yes.
our relationship.
That's a mom-dad relationship.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just reflecting on my wife talks to my kids more than I do, right? And that's just the relationship we have right
Definitely.
now. But when my two boys came in turn, and I'm totally relating to what you're saying right now, because we're having conversations at the dinner table about work, and they were so engaged, actually to the point where I probably told you, as Preston came home, was like, I'm not going back to college.
Yeah.
Like, I've learned so much here in the last 8 weeks. Like, this is where I want to be.
Right.
I'm like, no, that time will come. Just go ahead and finish your college, and then you can return. So, how's Terry and the rest of the family feeling about what's happening and this? And I don't want to say it. Are they jealous? But what are they thinking about this relationship now? This new relationship, the strengthened relationship between you two?
It's a great question. It actually came up 2 weeks ago. I think it's like anything. Terry is super pleased that she's working for us.
Yeah.
And that she loves what she's doing and she's driving success. But also, she's in the same breath. It's like, well, what are we doing for your son? Because he graduated and he's looking for a job, and it's hard for a college graduate to get a job. And and the reality is, although I would love for Jason to be on board, it just goes back to looking at roles.
What seat can be filled now?
And does the organization have a need for a certain role with his talent? And unfortunately, we don't. We're just small mom and pop, 4 schools. But if we did, I would certainly give him the same equal opportunity. Would love to have him on board.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's a matter of timing and when the timing's right.
Yeah.
But, I think the reality is it's probably harder for someone in his position as a sibling, to accept that and feel like, well, I need employment too, so why aren't you helping me? And it's not so much that Dad doesn't want to help, it's based on need.
Yeah, and listen, I love that, because if you would have given Jason that, he would know that you were giving him that. Not that he earned it, you were giving it to him. And I think that would have bothered him even more.
Right, sure.
Right, because he'd be sitting there like, why am I here? What is my role?
Right.
I just feel like my dad gave this to me or put me in this position just because, he feels sorry for me right now. Or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But short term, feels very uncomfortable.
Right, exactly.
Probably hurts.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But in the long haul, it will serve him very well not doing that to him.
Right.
Right. You're actually doing him a favor.
We're doing a favor, right? As hard as it is.
Doesn't feel like a favor right now.
Exactly.
But it's 100% a favor.
And as I told Terry, a door will open for him, and he'll be able to contribute value and success to an organization. Right? Exactly.
Yeah. So, what, as you guys are conquering the world here together as father and daughter, what's your thoughts on legacy for the family? Time will tell. What are you guys thinking?
I think, when I look at legacy, I think this is kind of the first step of, having a sibling in the business and working the business and learning if that's what they want to do. And again, whether it's Madison, Jason, or Stella, I think to me, the opportunity is to get into business and start to learn the different segments of the business and fully understand, because even as I look ahead for Madison, and we've had these discussions, in the next year or two, I would like her to get her director's license and experience what it's like to operate a school. Because when you fundamentally understand that, then you can manage people better and understand the pain points that they go through and the coaching that they require. It's very hard to do that, bring that right knowledge to the table when you have no understanding of the business.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So again, so that's kind of how I foresee like her role playing out. And then as the other ones, right, we grow, they come into the business, and would be the same opportunity for them, like learn the different segments of the business. Otherwise, right, even from a legacy perspective, how are they going to do a great job? Right? I mean, most likely it's not. I mean, so they won't be able to challenge certain decisions or, you know, give great direction and leadership because they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And ultimately respect.
Right, absolutely.
Respect
Right, respect's huge.
From everybody else, that you do know what you're talking about.
Right.
You've been there, you've done it, you've operated schools before, or you have ran the marketing department before, so you do know what you're talking about in this very specific subject.
And I think anytime you can sympathize with someone, you're going to get more empathy on the other end.
Totally.
And collaboration.
Totally.
So even though I didn't know anything about the business, I feel like I got great people skills where I can sit and listen.
Yeah.
Right. I always say that.
And
right.
relate.
Right. God gave us a gift, and it's free. It's to listen.
Yeah.
And if you listen, then you can
learn,
process. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I remember when Evan came home for his internship. He said he wanted to focus on construction, so we sent him on one of our construction sites, building a new school. And the first day, they had him sweeping floors of the construction site. So, of course, he called his mother and was like, they have me up here sweeping the floors. And so, of course, she called me and was like, why do they have me up there sweeping floors? I'm like, relax, it's day one. But what I took away from that is that the next time he walks on a construction site and sees somebody sweeping the floors, he will appreciate the value of what that person is doing. So that was, I hope that was, I'm sure that's what his takeaway was. I'm praying that was a takeaway of I can relate because I've done it. It stinks to sweep the floor and clean up all the stuff, but I'll be respectful and grateful for that person because of that.
And the expectation of what a clean job site should look like.
Right, exactly. So Madison, I'll start with you. Same question for both of you. It's like, what would your recommendations be as a 23-year-old young lady on entering into a family business? Because some people are like, don't ever go into business with your family.
Yeah.
Don't ever get into a partnership. What's your thoughts on that?
I would say do it if your gut and your heart is telling you to do it and that's what you wanted to do. Like personally, I know I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't something I didn't want to do. I mean, I walk in those doors every day and see my name on the door. Like that itself is the biggest motivator. And I think for anyone, if that's it for you, then you'll 1,000% succeed. I mean, it's drive, it's dedication. I know he can trust me, and I take pride in that. Like I want him to be able to trust me. I want him to be able to hand me things and I can take it from there. Yeah.
Talk to me about that. Pressures there, responsibility.
Yeah, people have asked me about that and I tell them, to me, not that I love it, but I get it because he's my father at the end of the day, and I've grown up with a certain expectation, like whether it be in school and sports, to always give my best, always try my best. And at the end of the day, like I know how he thinks, and even in a business setting, I'm learning, like he wants data like backed up when I'm giving him answers to things. And I don't know, to me, that's just, it's special.
And I think trust comes in different forms, right? When I look at trust, I think family members coming into the business will always have the family members back, regardless of who they are. Yeah. But then trust also comes with the role. Like, right, when she first started out, sure, I was checking on things, or the KPIs that we have set, are we doing it? Yeah. And she earned that trust like over months. Yeah. I mean, we're a year into this, but over the first 3 or 4 months that we were hitting those KPIs, or at least documenting and following up that we're hitting all the check boxes. So again, I think, every family member has to earn trust as well. Yeah. Because if not, if you're not doing the job, you're not contributing to the success
You
of
won't
the
work here any
business.
longer.
Right.
Wow.
I mean, there can't be no difference between her role and someone else's role. We
Yeah.
all have to contribute towards the success
right.
of the business.
That's right. I think that's such a great mindset, Jason, that you've adopted, which is like you have to succeed, right? This is a job. You're my daughter, but you got to fill the
Yeah.
position. You got to do it well.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, there's no hiding it. Like, it'll be very clear if I'm doing my job or not.
Yeah.
Like, I do live off of a KPI sheet, and if it's not filled out, there will be things to show that. So,
And right, equally as important, coming to work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, again, right. We didn't necessarily have those conversations because I think like when you're raising your kids and knowing the vigorous curriculums that they went through, and not only academically but on the sports field, they have that structure built into them already. But right, I have other colleagues and hear stories. Right, kids don't even come to work,
Yeah.
or they come to work when they want. I mean, that can't be an example for anybody else in the office. It sets a negative tone. So again, I think it's a combination of several things.
But having your daughter or any family member, you kind of already know what you're getting.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
You're getting you along with your wife.
right.
And there she is, right?
Yeah.
So you know exactly. I mean, it's been a 23-year interview process,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So you probably couldn't wait to make that hire,
Right.
right? Especially
Yeah.
then going off to school and really learning digital marketing and marketing as a whole, and then bringing it back to the family business.
Yeah, and even for me, I tell people this all the time, like when they ask me about my job and if I love it, and like if I'm in an office every day, and I always say, to me, I feel like I walk a very fine line in the sense of I don't want anyone to look at me and think I didn't earn
Yeah.
what I've worked for, or just because he's my dad, I can take off whenever I want,
Yeah.
or come into work whenever I want. Like, for the most part, every morning I am one of the first people there. And I leave very late. And that's not to say I work more hours than you. It's just I don't want anyone to ever question my ability and what I contribute to the company.
When you're dedicated to your
relate to
role.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for thank you for being an inspiration to all of us, and what a true family business can look like if we put the time and the effort into it. So thank you, guys.
It is a great feeling for sure.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to Enrich Your Empire. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn at Richie Huffman Celebree. We've got more great episodes lined up for you, so check back with us soon. Until then, stay inspired, stay driven, and keep building your empire.